We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles Mackenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
All right, Daniel. Well, these things happen. United lost at Arsenal and Arteta and his tight trousers were bouncing up and down the touchline. Bit disappointing.
Yeah, to concede 2 late goals in 4 days or whatever it is a massive pain in the arse and reflects an attitude, I think, where the Palace game, we tried to see it out and get a win. And this one felt like probably didn't have the quality to do anything very much different to what actually happened in that final 20 minutes. We just, in the end, got beat by a team that are a year further along than we are.
Well, true, yeah. I was a little disappointed that we got deeper and deeper and deeper, and Weghorst stayed on all the time. It wasn't even sticking with him, so I was like, isn't there an opportunity to change how the pattern of this game is going? Because United just spent the last 20 minutes getting deeper and deeper and felt like that kind of thing could happen. So that was a disappointment.
I felt like
details...
the reason Weghorst stayed on was that he was the only potential outball, really. Let's say you bring on Garnacho for him, then you're hoping for someone to lump one into space, really. You're not going to alleviate pressure. I thought the changes he should have made were, I would have brought on Fred for Eriksen and Garnacho for Anthony. Because
either way round, yes. I mean, Eriksen, I understand he kept it on because he wants to try and keep the ball. United weren't doing that at all, and it got to the point where we couldn't stop the ball going through the lines because McTominay doesn't do that in the way Casemiro does, and then so what happened? United squeezed the space, and it was kind of inevitable. And then you're just relying on hoping to defend deep all of the time, and United did that pretty well for the most part, the defending deep bit.
But there was just those few times, and it wasn't the first time when we saw the ball bobbling about in the box, whether on the ground or in the air. And when you allow that to happen, as you say...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that we were good enough. Yeah, I don't think we were good enough to stop the flow of the game, but could we have had the bobbling about bit going on 10 yards further forward?
Yes,
I think.
I fully agree, yeah.
And that
I was surprised,
ultimately on the centre-backs, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it put a load of... Well, the centre-backs were under a load of pressure. We're also under pressure out wide because their 2 wide players, Martinelli and Saka, do the same thing, basically, which is get it wide and cut inside. And so the pattern's pretty clear there. And so they do have options, Arsenal, but not that many options. And I think the disappointing thing is, although they were moving the ball much faster than us, that we didn't find a way of changing that at all. And so Weghorst was more theory than practice in terms of giving United an outball. It didn't really... I like him with the ball at his feet. He's not bad, but we weren't getting it to him. So...
At 27, is he an Ormond droid? He was a lot better than he was at Palace. At Palace, I said to my dad afterwards that he is just a cart horse. Yeah, he's so slow that
he's very slow.
I can't believe, even though I think he'll get better, if that's what he's capable of, I can't believe he'll get better enough. And he did, but maybe I said, like, I don't want to be hasty and just watching someone for however long he played and saying he's crap. But he just didn't look to be the class that's required, which I guess is why we've signed him on loan. But he was better today. But we need a centre forward, and we saw it. And we need another midfield player as well, and we saw that.
Yep.
We need a right back. We saw that. Those are the 3 areas of this team that need sorting.
Yes, and potentially even the keeper as well, although I think it's more likely that Davies going to sign on for another 4 years, so that one won't happen. Yeah, I mean, we saw all the failings, so the disaster that it felt like after Casemiro got booked on Wednesday and we conceded that last goal, like the worst case scenario played out. Yeah.
Yes, like
McTominay is not as good defending as Casemiro, and he's not as good with the ball as Casemiro, and he's not as intelligent as Casemiro.
Is not as good as Casemiro.
I know.
For further insights from us.
He's not even as good looking as Casemiro. The drop off in quality is huge.
I don't like. One of my mates actually is. I mean, he's the Stonewall goalkeeper, or used to be, and now he's a Stonewall coach, and he's a big home and away United fan. And one of the games we have played on our way to away games is him picking his United 11 that I would give one to.
Right.
And McTominay was in that 3 years ago.
Oof.
And he has, I learned...
Bold choice.
I learned at the game, actually, at Palace, because he was there, and another one, someone who plays for him at Stonewall, was also there. And they were both saying that McTominay has come on in leaps and bounds and is now definitely a permanent fixture in their team. So I have to challenge you on that point.
All right.
But he's not...
I have to admit, I'm not the expert, so I will defer to the experts on whether McTominay is hot or not.
Hot than Casemiro. But yeah, I mean, Casemiro is cute.
I wouldn't call it. Yeah, is Casemiro cute rather than hot? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, he's got like very chitchy cheeks. But what on earth was he doing on Wednesday night? And when he got booked, there was actually a couple of occasions before he got booked when he would have been booked if the Palace players hadn't got out the road of these agricultural challenges he was trying to put in. Yeah. But
well, I think it's a facet of Casemiro's play, as good as he has been for United since coming, that his physicality has dropped off, that he's making more aggressive tackles than he used to do. And I think that's fairly clear. It's clear in the data as well that he's making more challenges than normal. And it may be part of just the nature of where this United side is versus a Madrid side that get the ball all the time.
And the nature of the English game, perhaps.
Bit of the nature of the English game. He's throwing himself into more challenges, and so it was a risk. I mean, the one he got booked for at Palace was particularly dumb because Varane was on the cover and it was quite wide anyway, and the chances of scoring with Varane and beating Dave from that position are very, very low. So, but he's mostly very intelligent. It was just a dumb one. Talking of dumb, and I think it's fair to call this out as being dumb. Wan-Bissaka at fault for 2 of Arsenal's goals, basically. I mean, I couldn't even I haven't had a chance to watch it back, apart from the replays, which really only showed the final moments. But the first one, when he's in the left back position, I don't know how he gets there in the first place. So why is he on the wrong side of the pitch? Bruno has to close the ball down, doesn't do it, and then Wan-Bissaka doesn't scan. You can see as the ball moves out, he has one look over his shoulder and he doesn't do it again, and he just misses Nketiah running past him. It's criminal defending. It really is so bad.
Yeah,
it's just so bad. And then playing the player on side was totally unnecessary for the winning goal. Just shocking. So,
I mean, yeah,
anyway.
very, very Wan-Bissaka.
Very Wan-Bissaka. It's the thing he does
with Wan Matter, but extremely Wan. But I mean, I said it to you last week when we spoke that he lost Grealish for the goal that City scored.
Yeah,
and he, at his age, if he's not learned to be aware of what's going on behind you at the back post by then. I mean, it seems so simple, but what? But he's not capable. And he played all right at Palace. He played all right today, apart from the fact that he was at fault for 2 goals. And
yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of crucial, isn't it? They record this data, right? So the amount of times the player scans and looks around, and classically, it's your central midfielders, your creative players who do that. Yeah, I think if they'd recorded it at the time, Paul Scholes would probably been scanning 3 times a second, right? He was brilliant at it. It just knew what was around him all the time, and Wan-Bissaka doesn't do that at all. And it's one of those things that a coach will have the data on and should be able to go, dude, you need to look around you in order to know what's going on the football pitch.
It's really weird. It's like when you see certain players and they have little things that they do that should be remediable in literally a conversation. So
yeah,
did anyone ever say to Berbatov, look, after you've taken the ball down like that and spread it wide, run like fuck to get into the box.
Right.
Like, it's a sentence.
Yeah.
Just do that every time. And
I know, Berbatov plucks one out of the sky and admires his own first touch for a couple of minutes, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, with De Gea as well. Come off your line and catch some crosses, push your defender. Literally, just do that. It's not beyond you.
Yeah.
And yet, he hasn't done it for years. I mean, he did actually come for a crossing today. and
He
palm it away.
He did. Yeah.
And he made a brilliant
he caught
save
a couple
on
and then
Sanders.
palmed one softly out. Yeah,
But
look, these details matter for a team that's trying to push. Well, I guess we can stop talk of the title challenge now, but was trying to push for the top places in the league. These things really matter because the details matter.
I think that we're a year behind Arsenal, and they're
and
now
a few signings.
Yeah, well, they're now signing players to refine the team. They're signing options, and they're signing promising players. We need a couple of 2 or 3 first 11 players still before we get to that point. But also, I think one thing that also was telling was you could see, to me, that one side had played in midweek and one side hadn't.
For sure, yeah. And it is a big advantage. De Gea called it out after the Palace game. It's the quirk of the fixtures, having to find that, the one that was...
quirk of the Queen dying.
Postponed, and having to shove it in somewhere right at the last moment. And it's cost us both... we were knackered in midweek and played an extra game today and lost Casemiro, and it's all because of that fixture being stuck in midweek. So I can understand why they might.
All because of that penalty we didn't get in midweek. If we get that penalty in midweek, then Casemiro gets substituted and he's there today, and we win.
Yeah, well, that's right. And if we want to have a big moan about stuff, we're also playing 2 fixtures against Barcelona, which we should never have been playing because of the handball.
I mean, I'm not very. I absolutely loved what Ten Hag said actually about the penalty. He said, in midweek, you have to accept decisions from VAR, from the referees. Yep. I look in the mirror, I look to my team, I look to my own managing and coaching, and I say, invest more for the second goal, then you avoid situations you're dependent on the referee. And
yes, he's totally right.
Bang on. And managers refusing to do that is one of the reasons why we've had the greatest feeling in the world, the scoring of a goal, diluted by us having to wait to see if we're going to make twats of ourselves by celebrating, and VAR's going to take it away from us. And one of the major reasons we've compromised that unmatchable feeling, is managers blaming referees instead of taking responsibility themselves and saying, you should have played well enough to win, whatever the referee did.
No, he is absolutely right. And I think that sense of taking responsibility was massively... We've talked about it before, right? It was hugely missing from this side. No one was accountable. And Ten Hag is saying you have to be accountable. I mean, he said after the game today that mistakes matter for a top team. We're trying to be first. Not being first counts. And mistakes matter. And he's called it out. And he's obviously gone into the dressing room after that game. He doesn't feel like the teacup throwing type, but said, like, those errors that you made are why you lost today. And United should be accountable for that. I mean, part of the challenge, of course, is that once you get past our first, 11 or 12 players, it starts to feel a bit thin. And that is a challenge for him, but we're growing, and we're not spending money this winter. Arsenal spend money, Chelsea spent money, Liverpool has spent money. I don't think City have, but a lot of teams are, and that may matter
City
a
just
lot
bought
in the
some
second.
Argentinian midfielder.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
No idea.
Know nothing about him,
but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that may well matter at the end of the season, depending on injuries, and especially if go further in the FA Cup. If we happen to get past Barcelona in the Europa League, this could well count against us.
In a way, actually, it's quite good that we've drawn Barca at this stage, in that if we're going to lose to Barca, we may as well get it done now than lose to Barca in the semi-final, having played a whole bunch of other fixtures in the process. So yeah, actually, it's not the end of the world having to play Barca now, I don't think. But I think we probably, us, Barca and Arsenal, the best teams in this competition.
Yes, I think that's probably true. I mean, Barcelona, they beat Real Madrid in the Supercopa. I talk about fuck modern football. They now play semi-finals in the La Liga Supercopa, and it's played in Riyadh. No thanks. But anyway, there you go. Modern football few. They beat today, and they're going quite well, Barcelona. We'll come to that.
You could see that they were getting better at the end of the last season when Xavi took over. But I mean, I guess other things. Like I thought Anthony was much better today. One of my mates calls him Derek Zoolander because he's not an ambi-turner.
It's all shown.
No, he can only turn one way. He's not an ambi-turner.
You can only turn one way. I'm turning. You can't see it because it's a podcast. Yeah. I mean, it's true. He does come inside. He doesn't even attack the player on the inside, though. So, I mean, the frustrating thing with him is you just want him to use the ball quicker, because especially if we're going to play Weghorst or Weghorst, which way is it in Dutch? Someone tell me.
I think it's probably Weghorst.
I'm going to guess it's Weghorst, but
Yeah, I think it is.
Anyway, it's like if we play Weghorst and Anthony, there's only one out ball really. Only one player that's going to use space, and that's Rashford, and he can be devastating. Of course, he scored the goal today, coming in from the inside, and he nearly scored another one coming in from the outside to the in when Ramsdale saved it low down. But it does mean that the side defending against United can channel it one way.
I mean, I think
option.
Yeah, the thing with Anthony, I think, is that what we don't have, and because he reminds me in some ways a little bit of Pires, like someone who plays on the wrong side, wants to come inside, and what you need to get the most out of that is an attacking fullback with pace.
Sure,
we don't have that. Whereas if you look on the other side, one of the reasons Rashford's able to be dangerous is because Luke Shaw is a much better. Well, they didn't play well today. Is a much better fullback in all aspects than Wan Massive and Dalot. And
yes,
particularly if you've got someone like, not even someone like Anthony. You have Anthony. You need someone to keep the width, because then otherwise the defenders can just show him inside and can gang up, because then you've got the defender, maybe the midfield player who's in that position, and the centre back who can get involved. Whereas if you've got someone on the touchline, then the fullback has to make a choice. Do they stay? Someone's got to cover the run of the fullback, and we don't currently have that. But I thought Anthony was better today than he was in midweek. And what I like about him is he does always want the ball. He'll always take the ball. And
yeah,
we've had too few players who want to do that recently. So there is that, but you can see that there's work to do with him.
Yeah, for sure. And United paid a lot for a work that's very much in progress. I mean the right back, I'm sure that's why we get all the stories about Denzel Dumfries or an other right back, in that neither of them is the complete package. I mean, I do think that Dalot's got a more all-round game. He still doesn't. I mean, he gets the ball into the final third and uses it there in a way that Wan Massive doesn't. He's still not the attacking fullback that I think that Ten Hag would want. He doesn't, like, as much as you feel like he might be that player and could have been that player, he doesn't actually do it. And so at this stage, it's all theory. And Wan Massive is just, there's very little to his all-round game. He had 3 decent games. He did a game-saving tackle against Palace in midweek, which is fantastic. He put in a similar tackle, though not as dangerous today, in order to get a ball away. They're all right on the margin. I mean, he seems to get them all, doesn't he?
I mean,
it's so risky, but he's obviously good at that. But nothing else to his game is very elite at all. And at this stage, we shouldn't expect it to be. I don't think he's going to learn it. So definitely felt like the other thing about the fullbacks is, and I guess it's easy for me to say from my armchair here talking into a microphone, but they backed off and backed off and backed off all of the time.
It was very hard because he did it so often, Shaw, that it seemed like it was a plan. Yet there was.
But you just let the player come into a more dangerous area.
Yeah, there was nothing about that plan that suggested it was a good one. You're just allowing him to put the ball across without any kind of contest. And I guess one of the other things about the fullbacks is I don't suppose they get a lot of help from the wider midfield players, and Eriksen has been slowly getting worse over the last few weeks. And if we're going to
he's played almost every game. So
but also,
I think
if we're going to be good, we're going to need a better player than him.
So, I mean, I like Eriksen's use of the ball, and he's done a lot of assists this season. But yeah, he's not an all-round midfielder. He has the ball at his feet and he does good stuff, but he's not quick and he doesn't do any defending. He's very puff in defending, and like in those situations where he gets the ball off the back four as well, it's he does lose it on occasion. So,
and even if you excuse the defending, he doesn't have the physicality to get on the ball enough for you to get the most out of the stuff that he's good at. And it is going to require someone stronger and faster and younger to come in and take his place next season. I don't know who it's going to be, but we are going to need someone to come in and do that.
Well, the answer, of course, should be that United get new owners who want a shiny new thing and they drop 100 million on Bellingham. That's the obvious answer to that problem. We'll see whether that happens or not. We've got £3.50 in a packet of fags until there's new owners. So it's going to make a big difference in the summer, actually, given United's current cash position. But anyway, I do tend to agree that...
If just on that owning point, if the new owners come in and clear the debt, that then gives
us...
a bit. Yeah. That then gives us a bit more spending headroom, presumably, in terms of FFP.
Yes, it does. Yeah. There's new regulations coming in so the current profit and sustainability regulations that the FA has are changing, and I believe they're changing to sort of match the European ones, which are about percentage of revenue. So it's going to be 70% of revenue you can spend on squad, right? Squad. 70% of revenue, then 80%, then 90%, I believe. Sorry, it's the other way around. 90, 80, 70, right? So there's a step down to get to sustainability over the next 3 years, comes in from next season. Currently, United, I think the headroom on financial fair play is not that bad. I think mostly this winter the problem has been cash. There's no cash in the bank, and there's probably no room in the line of credit. And they've already got £200 million in spending they owe to other clubs already. So I think that has been a problem. United, once the takeover happens, the new owners will clear the debt for sure. It'll be part of the sale price. And United will actually be in a very good position relative to rivals. It would help a lot if we could sell players. We don't seem to be able to do that. Chelsea made 5 times as much money over the last 5 years from sales as United have, which means they can go and spend stupid money on a stupid amount of players and still be okay from a financial fair play. Anyway, that's a long discussion about finances, but I don't think United are in a bad position as soon as the takeover happens.
But yeah, I guess we're at that point now where we're good enough to compete with the best teams in the league because we've seen it. We competed today. Yep. We just didn't have that extra bit of gas. On another day, we get out of that with a draw. But we're not in a position to feel confident about beating them most of the time. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is players.
If Casemiro's in the team today, I think it would have been very different. I don't think Arsenal would have been able to put us under the same amount of pressure because Casemiro does screen and does stop the ball going through the lines. So I don't think Saka and Martinelli would have got it as much. And I think that would have made a big difference. But that's down to squad depth. The drop-off from Casemiro to McTominay is steep. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, the other thing I was slightly surprised about is that he didn't go with a similar formation to the one against City and play Fred in the middle alongside McTominay and push Bruno slightly wider. It's unbalanced. It's a compromise. It's square pegs and round holes, but it gives you a bit. I hate him on the right too, but it gives you an extra midfielder. I mean,
I thought he might have been tempted. Maybe he was tempted to put Martinez in midfield just for this game. Put Shaw centre back and Malacia left back just for this game, just because that would have given us a bit of composure, a bit of authority in midfield that we didn't have. And you want Varane and Martinez to play together all the time, but it felt like maybe for this game it would have made a little bit of sense just to actually do something different. And
I don't know. I've never seen Martinez in midfield. I don't know if he's any good actually being turned around, which is what would happen in that kind of position. It wouldn't be played all in front of him. And then, of course, it would be Malacia and Saka, which feels a bit unfair. A lot of people were chatting about it. Could have happened, never seen it. So don't really know whether that would have made a big difference or not. We definitely lost all the authority in midfield. McTominay
Although I was impressed with how we came, when we came back after they scored the second goal, we actually came straight back at them and seemed to have the gumption to be able to grab a hold of the game. But then as soon as we got it, we retreated again. And I don't know if that was just exhaustion, lack of quality, maybe a bit of both. But it still feels, I said before, that Varane and Martinez have responsibility for moving that defence up the pitch. And they're the ones when you're sitting
and Dave behind them,
centre-backs who are doing it. Yeah. And I guess I can understand why you would do it, that in the last few minutes you trust yourself to clear the balls that come into the box. But what I was impressed with, Arsenal were impressive in the way that they kept playing their football. So they weren't, like, often you find in those situations, teams are just pumping balls into the box. Arsenal didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that meant that it wasn't that kind of rear guard where you're just chucking bodies in the way. It was actually, they were picking passes, and you don't want people doing that around the penalty spot. You want that needs to happen 10 yards further forward.
No, you're right, it does, yeah. And like the difference from the City game last weekend and this one is, sorry, I feel like a broken record here. United were very, very good at stopping the ball getting into City's dangerous players up front. And today they weren't able to do that. So Arsenal did play their football. they played through the lines. They found those pockets of space, especially Martinelli and Saka, and United couldn't stop that. And so the pressure was building. And I think the natural thing is, I don't think they tried necessarily. I think they just tried to compress the space, and that meant getting deeper.
Also, the players
ultimately that cost United.
Yeah, the players that do that stop the ball going in, Casemiro and Fred. And Casemiro was spent the night, as you say. Like, I'm not sure why he played McTominay, not Fred, because Fred looks in better form at the moment, and also just is a little bit nippier to kind of to plug those holes. McTominay, the game pretty much passed him by, and it feels like I like McTominay. I don't mind him being around, but if there was a good offer on the table for him, it would be very tempting to take it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all hope, isn't it? You hope he's going to do have the one game a season where he somehow makes those storming third man runs.
The film never against Arsenal or whatever.
It just hardly ever happens, and his quality on the ball is not very good. And he's 26, and he's also not a defensive player, right? He's not disciplined. He spent much of the first 20 minutes of this game ahead of Eriksen, which is okay if you want to kind of disrupt the flow of your opponent, but it left United quite exposed. And so it definitely cost United. There's a gap there. We need probably 3 first-teamers to really make the leap up, and then probably a 3 to fill out the squad to be of championship winning quality. And that could well happen. I don't think we're 6 players away. I think that we must have a centre forward, and we must have another midfield player. Yes,
we could get by.
And the right back.
I think if we had Dalot at right back and we signed Bellingham at a brilliant centre forward, I think we could still win, or whoever, a proper midfield player and a proper centre forward. Then we could get by without another right back and still put in a proper challenge to win the league, I would say. I mean, Arsenal's got Ben White and Takahiro Tomiyasu. They're both okay, but it's
nothing special. Yeah,
it's not. They're not special players. We don't have to go out and spend money on the best right back possible. I agree that you want options. I mean, you kind of hope that you get your options from youth team players, also reserve team players who are getting better. And I don't know if any of those are going to be ready to play any kind of role next season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Garnacho's closest. Pellistri, they're not letting him go out on loan, but they're not using him either, which is kind of weird place that the players in, players pushing to leave. Kobe Mainu was on the bench again, but I think he is some way off being ready for the first team.
Sunderland today, also.
Again, yeah.
And so that's another thing, because someone's going to have, I guess at some point in the summer, they're going to have to decide whether it's going to be Pellistri or Diallo.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of them may leave, and I suspect because he's pushing for it, Pellistri will be the player who departs, which is fine. They'll probably get the money they spent on him back. I mean, the United let the academy go for a number of years, right? And we're seeing some of the fruits of the re-injection of interest and money into the academy that have started to happen under Ollie now, because there's a few younger players coming through who aren't mostly as a group quite ready. Prior to that, there's 6 years of nothingness, right? Like, who are the 2 players that came through? McTominay and Rashford. And there was just nothing apart from that. There's like a generational gap in which United didn't invest in the academy and nothing came through as a result. And that has two big consequences. One, you have to spend money in order to fill those places in the squad. And you're not selling players either for lots of money, which is what Chelsea do, and City, by the way, where they're adding 50
it's almost a business.
£60
They
to their
have
budget
the football club
every year.
business, and they have the football club business, and they have the talent business.
Yeah. But it sustains the club, and it's Anyway, United neglected the academy. It was penny pinching, and there were some consequences to that. So anyway.
And back to the Palace game also, and what we saw today as well, is that inability to kind of press on. This wasn't the first or the second or the third or the fourth time it's happened. Ten Hag has been bagging on about this in loads of games. Like, we almost ended up drawing that Everton Cup game, for example, because we didn't push on and go and finish the game. And you can only usually get involved in so many tight games a season before one eventually comes and bites you in the arse.
Yep.
And
details. Yeah.
And that, I mean, I mean, I don't know if, I mean, that's what Ten Hag was saying as well. It's details. I'm not sure. I never quite understand what he means, but like, is Michael Elise banging in an amazing free kick? Is that a detail? I don't know. And today,
well, it is when it wasn't even a foul, and then they moved the ball about 10 yards forward.
Is that a detail? I don't know.
I mean, I think the difference between like, is it something structural that happened, which is what happened to United today, deeper and deeper and deeper, and they couldn't do anything to fix it, versus someone smashing in a ball into the top corner, which is a 1 in 100 like chance of actually doing that. So,
but it came as a consequence of the details
of United losing the energy. Yeah. You're right. We've seen that a fair bit, and
I guess
part of it, I think, is Eriksen really tires after 60 minutes, and there's no replacement for him. He'll keep the ball, so he plays and plays and plays. I think he's played the most minutes of any player this season.
I guess the reason it's easy to be quite reflective about this is that ultimately, whatever happened on Wednesday and whatever happened today, we were going to probably finish third or fourth, and we're still probably going to finish third or fourth. And we can see progress. Like the team are putting in effort. They've got a bit of backbone, not as much as you would like, but they are growing some vertebrae. And we can see that it's going in the right direction. And also that Arsenal had to strain every sinew to beat us today, and they almost didn't. Yeah. And as I said, they're a year further ahead than we are. So you can see that in not a lot of time, how we can soon be better than them. And I guess there's also the aspect that anything that stops City winning the league is a good thing. Not much as I'm not looking forward to seeing little Arteta and his little trousers celebrating a title. If that's what happens, I can just avert my eyes. Whereas if City won 3 in a row, I could not avert my soul.
No, I know. It's. I have the same. I think we've talked about it. I have the same internal monologue, which is like, I don't care about City as an entity as much as I did when they didn't have all this money, and because now I can just kind of write them off. There's an asterisk. It's a state-run sport washing project. Apparently, Pep has been moaning that he doesn't get the credit he thinks he should get. I had a good chuckle at that one. Why do you think that is, Pep? And so like there's a part of me that can go, yeah, don't care. And it's why rather they won the title last year than Liverpool, because Liverpool is an actual real club with real fans and it counts for something. Apart from the one they won during lockdown, which has the
null and void
asterisk
season
against it. Didn't count. Yeah, null, void, didn't count. Whereas Arsenal are trying to do things the right way, of the way a club does. It's their own money. They're trying to build, and they've got quite a few unlikable. You know, Arteta, very unlikable. Ramsdale, very unlikable.
He's next on my list as well. Ramsdale goes about like he's Buffon.
God, he really does. He has an opinion of himself which is much, much more than his actual quality. As we saw today, Arteta in his tight trousers you don't know whether, but they had a close-up of his lower half today. And I'm like, I don't need to see it. They're so fucking tight, you can see his nads. You know, no thanks. So anyway,
which
comes back to is there a ranking of managers that are fuckable? So does he rank highly with his
Arteta? I think that the thing with him is also that if Arsenal stay the course and he gets tight, he's going to do himself a mischief.
He is, yeah.
But
yeah, he got booked today.
To be that weirdly intense in January is it's not good for anyone.
No, he almost started a fight with, who was it? Klopp. He started a fight with that time.
I can't imagine how he could start a fight with anyone. But I mean, I wrote something about this recently, that I guess that in the end, the only place that's safer to start an actual fight than the Premier League football pitch is an airport, because there's not going to be a fight. Although I say that, when I was coming back from Ibiza in the summer, there was these two kids who were giving some grief to some American Marine type, and he decked one of them. Like gave him a proper right hand, which is not something you would ever expect to see in an airport, because you cannot get away with it. But I think what actually happened was he did get away with it, because people were like, yeah, these blokes deserved it.
Well, in the same vein, metaphorically speaking, it would be nice if someone decked Arteta. I'm not actually suggesting someone should run on the pitch and kick him like that Spurs fan tried with Ramsdale the other day, but he is particularly dislikable. we've got a cup final to get to. And
Yeah.
that's Forest in midweek. I mean, what a chance this is. We've got the 3 cup games in a row now, isn't it? It's Forest, Reading Forest, I think, if I'm right in saying. And what a chance for Ten Hag to get his first trophy. Let's call it a major trophy. We count the EFL Cup as a major trophy? I think we are. If we're in the final, we are.
Yeah, like the idea that we would be the Patses as Newcastle win their first trophy in a million years is
unpalatable.
Unalluring, but we should win it from here.
Yeah.
And I'd be amazed if we didn't get past Forest.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing better recently. They're creeping up the table. I was actually surprised when I looked at the table yesterday. They were up to 13th. It's quite tight down the bottom, so there's not many points in it. They dropped Jesse Lingard, so it's interesting their revival has come when Lingard has not been in the team. I don't know whether you saw his interview in midweek. I mean, there's some stuff there I was like, okay, he's obviously done a lot of personal work, and he's opening up about the difficulties of the time he's had and his family life, and you kind of feel sympathetic. And then he says some really dumb stuff as well, and you're like, yeah, okay, it's the Lingard we knew. So, but anyway, he's not in the Forest team, so I'm not sure where he's going with his career at the moment. I
would always have a soft spot for Lingard because he saved us. He saved us from the ignominy of losing an FA Cup final to fucking Crystal Palace.
Yes, he will always have that. Yeah.
The absolute humiliation of that occurrence. And it was an amazing goal. And we were down to 10 men. So I would always have a soft spot for Jesse Lingard just for that. So, yeah, I saw a little bit of the interview, and I think probably United has been a shitty place to be for the last decade. And the way that they treated him was strange, but it also felt like he could have taken command of his own destiny and said, I'm out of it. After the West Ham loan, he should not have come back because it was obvious to anyone, where you're getting into this team. Even if Ole says you're getting into the team, it was just obvious you're not getting into the team. He wasn't, Go and play regularly.
And United turned down good money at that point, and he didn't push for the move. And he complained about not getting the move to Newcastle in that January. And he would have done, except for, as he put it, what happened with number 11. And so after Greenwood was suspended, they blocked the move, which is perfectly reasonable from the club point of view. Lingard had a contract. He sort of dismissed Murta and how Murta handled him, said, do you want a couple of days off? Which is not awesome man management, I suppose. But from the club's point of view, they needed the player. It turned out they didn't use him anyway, but you can kind of understand the thinking. So I don't think, I mean, it's players often feel like this, and I guess you can kind of have some empathy with them, but they often feel that somehow they're owed a place in the team and it's some horrible injustice if they don't get it.
But that's that's sort of the mentality you have to have for an elite sportsman, except there's also the bit where you earn your place in that team. And Lingard was never good enough. I guess he was not bitter, maybe that's the right word, but pissed off, let's say, because he obviously had that little run at the beginning of last season, scored that brilliant goal at West Ham, and still didn't get in the team.
Yeah.
And that I can understand why that was aggravating. But we all know that he's just one of those players that he's just a bit below the level that you need for you to be good. You might have him as the sixth. Gary Neville used to say, be a good 16th man. The last guy in your squad, you get something out of every now and again. But any team with pretensions at serious quality, it does not have Jesse Lingard in it.
Well, no, right. And he's not in the Forest team. We'll see. He may get back in for the semi-final. One player who's not going to be there is Dean Henderson. United have blocked him from playing, which is totally reasonable. I mean, why would you give your opposition any advantage whatsoever?
He's probably quite pleased. He's probably pleased because he wouldn't want Ten Hag to see how amazing he was.
Yeah, that's right. Because he'd be demanding he come back straight away.
And got a statue.
Yeah, I forgot. It's Hennessy, isn't it? Who's the backup who made the screw up against United in the league game.
The accidental Nazi saluter.
Oh, jeez. Him, that one. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm sure there'll be some changes because there's clearly some fatigue in this squad. Although 2 semi-finals against Forest and the Reading game, it's an opportunity to rotate. But even with some changes, United should be too good for this Forest side, they signed 23 players, and you look at them and go, well, probably another 23, and they might be safe. Although they're not as bad as Southampton and Everton.
They've got some all right players. Forest have got some all right players, but over 2 legs, it's very hard to see how he don't progress there.
Yeah, Gibbs White is finally sort of coming good. I mean, they spent a hell of a lot of money on him for a sort of promising young English player. Brendan Johnson, I think he can do some good stuff. Welsh player, I quite like him. They've got Chris Wood up front now, who they've loaned from Newcastle. I'm not sure whether he's cup tied or not. I saw some data. I was looking at the FB Ref data on Chris Wood.
Data on Chris Wood.
Oh, yeah, on Chris Wood is absolutely incredible. He is in like single-digit percentile amongst his peers, so forwards for shots, expected goals, expected assists, shots on target, goal-creating actions. He does absolutely nothing. He's in the 99th percentile for aerials won. It's the only thing he does. Lump it forward, He wins a header. Nothing
he's like
else.
your classic antipodean sportsman, isn't he?
God, he's a massive lump. he's Vegos, but without the good feet.
He reminds me of that guy who plays for Scotland from Australia. I can't remember his name, with the tats on his thighs. Don't know. Can't remember his name, but just he puts himself about. That is basically all he does.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a comfortable win over the 2 legs for United. It'll be interesting to see what kind of team. Do we get to see Sancho?
Lyndon Dykes, that's his name.
Right.
And Lyndon Dykes used to play.
Yes.
There's a team in Australia called Surfers Paradise Apollo.
Nice.
Yes, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how or why, but he used to play for Surfers Paradise Apollo, Lyndon Dykes.
I suppose it's a swap with Cumdog, who's the Scottish player who plays for Australia. Didn't make it. Didn't really play at the World Cup. I think he got a couple of substitute appearances. But Jason Cummings. Anyway, are we going to see Sancho? He's back in training. He's fit. It seems like these 3 cup games are a good reintroduction. Could be it's like a new signing, Dan.
Yeah, well, I guess it's one of those situations where I wouldn't mind Anthony continuing because I think he needs games. But yeah, it would be nice to see Sancho, and I'm sure that Rashford won't start the Reading game. I'd be surprised if he didn't start the Forest game, because try and get a lead in that one, and it is a cup semi-final. We do need to try and win this thing. But yeah, I'm sure he won't. Reading is the game where you might see, say, Sancho and Garnacho start those games.
Yeah, I'd like to see Garnacho get some time, especially since they're negotiating a contract at the moment. Some interesting stuff happening there. So I think
he looked like he lost weight, Sancho. There was photos of him, and he
photos of him on the training ground. Yeah. I mean, he's had 2 months of personal training. Yeah, I'm not sure what other work he's been doing on his confidence, mental outlook, and all of that. So.
Although part of me was thinking, I don't know if I wanted Sancho to get exactly thinner, because I wanted him to get a bit bulkier, perhaps. You don't want him to lose the pace that he's got, but at the same time, felt like he needs a little bit more strength to try and get by people on the outside, because he doesn't have that kind of Garnacho type pace.
See what we get when he comes back. I mean, it's another forward player, and he can create goals. And he, from his time in the Bundesliga, he scored a lot of goals as well. Obviously, not so far with United, so it's a bonus. I think we'll see some of him over the next. I mean, he's had a full week and a bit of training, so it's at least back with the squad. So it would be a surprise if he didn't get some time. I guess we're not going to see Martial yet. He's not quite ready. Dalot, maybe he's got this. He had this hamstring problem, so we might see a bit of him. So
yeah, who knows? Yeah, getting Dalot back would actually be quite helpful. I mean, getting Martial back would be extremely helpful if we got, but you never know what you're getting with him. So it seems so pointless and futile for us to sit here pontificating about when Martial comes back, because no one knows anything.
No, he is the original Edison Cavani, and he's a player who decides when he's fit. Not the medical team, not the manager, no one else. And it's deeply frustrating. But even when, I don't even know if it's that. It's just even when he is fit, he might be good. You don't know what you're going to get out of him.
He might be dreadful, and you've got no idea what it's going to be. So, we need a centre forward. I mean, what else can we say? We must have a centre forward. I demand a centre forward.
Okay, I think that's it for now. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you after the Forest game and the Reading game on Saturday. Enjoy them both. Speak to you soon.
Please.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.